What do we know?
What we now know, the timing of their tapping the reserves, September 24th or imminently. And as you know, the announcement that they plan to do this was made last week. It is an historic tapping of the strategic reserves in order to bring down prices. The initial auction will be for about 7.4 million barrels of crude, and that's according to the National Food and Strategic Reserves Administration, the agency responsible for all this. The auction is going to involve a number of grades. And while yes, the move is designed to lower oil prices, let's take a look at a three-day chart of Brent crude, because you can see the announcement did indeed briefly and immediately jolt prices lower down to about $74, but they very quickly recovered and headed for 77. So that may indicate that this is going to be absorbed by the market. Again, the unprecedented move is designed to, quote, ease the pressure of rising raw material prices, China facing the surging cost of commodities, not just for crude and other energy prices such as coal and natural gas, but in general, it is adding to the rapid rise of inflation. And so this move is being watched very carefully. Paul?
So we do have prices continuing to rise. Brent crude closing at a 3-year high. What's ahead here?
Well, a lot of analysts and banks are saying that we could go much higher. It looks like Brent crude is clearly on a path to 80. Goldman is saying it could go to 90 this winter if we get a colder than expected winter. And, let's take a look at Brent crude, because as mentioned, it did close at a 3-year high, the highest since October 2018. Chart watchers are saying that technical indicators are flashing warnings of a pullback before it moves higher, that perhaps it's overbought. But if we dip into the Bloomberg, you can see that energy remains the top performing commodity sector of 2021. Commodities have been on fire. Energy commodities really leading the way higher by a mile. And what's also important is that not only are global supplies tightening, but here in the U.S., we've got supplies at the lowest since 2018 because of Hurricane Ida. Even though that was about 4 weeks ago, we're still learning the extent of the damage. Hurricane Ida wiped out about 30 million barrels in Gulf area output, making it the most destructive storm on that basis in about 13 years. For instance, we just learned that Shell platforms are going to remain offline until early next year. If we go back into the Bloomberg very quickly, different chart titled Not Impressed, you can see that energy stocks are not rising with oil prices of late. That white line that's going higher is the commodity. The blue is the S&P 500 energy sector. Even though we saw big oil stocks like Exxon move higher on the day, the general group has been moving in the opposite direction.